we can get frustrated as districts because of a lack of parental engagement. And we have discovered we have a large responsibility to find out what works and how we can connect.
You're listening to the smartsocial.com podcast. I'm your host, Josh Oakes. This is our District Talk segment where we interview district leaders to learn how they're keeping students safe on social media so those students can someday shine online. Now, let's get back to the interview.
Hi, I'm Dana Addis. I'm the superintendent of Hudson City Schools. We're located in Hudson, Ohio, in the northeast quadrant of the state. We have 5 buildings in our school district, and we have 4,700 kids on a daily basis.
Superintendent, welcome to the podcast. It's great to have you here today, where we talk about best practices in your community and how other districts nationwide can learn from you, can learn from maybe some of your struggles and all of your successes so that we can help kids around the country. So we're excited to have you here today. The first question I have for you, Superintendent, is what's your biggest accomplishment as a school district over the last 1 to 4 years?
Josh, I think there are a couple of things that the whole district can be proud of. One is we feel like we finally made it out of a really challenging time period during COVID for this school district in particular. And we feel like we're back to being ourselves. Our students and families feel that way. Our staff feels that way. Probably the larger item is we had a community and board adopted portrait of an explorer back in 2019, which really dealt with some attributes that this community wanted our graduates to have. So we've spent the last 2 years and heading into year 3 of implementing that program. And it has taken off inside of our schools and in our community. And everyone is fully aware of those attributes and those additional items we want to give to our kids.
Yeah, that's terrific. What does a successful graduate look like? What are those attributes? I like that you're starting with the end in mind, which is terrific. The next question I have for you, what advice do you have for other school districts who may deal with social media issues that could originate on a social media app? I want you to think TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram, or any other app kids are on, but then it creates a very real problem on one of your campuses.
I think the biggest piece of advice I would give any superintendent or school district is to make sure when that communication is necessary, your people already know who you are. They know what you stand for, what you believe in, your purpose and mission as a district, so that when you have to tackle something that's really challenging, there's already a developed trust there. And so if it's advice that they don't agree with or have difficulty understanding, there's going to be a trust where they can ask you questions or listen and honor those thoughts. But it can't be the first time when something's challenging and difficult. That can't be the first time that you connect with your community.
Yeah, very well said. And what I'm hearing you say as well is it's an iterative process of communicating and communicating. We talked a little bit about the dangers, but let's talk about the positive side of social media. Can you provide an example of how your students may have used their social media in a positive or productive way that may have benefited themselves or their community?
Our kids are really involved and active. The district is, we have Facebook, we have Instagram, we have Twitter, now known as X. So there's a lot of interaction in our community on this. I would say from our kids' standpoint, they do a really good job of promoting one another on those social media platforms. Something that's been most interesting to me is we're entering our 3rd year with our middle school, where we have a fully implemented AI technology day in the spring. And it's a competitive exercise that brings in experts from all over Ohio just to help the kids understand the strength of social media and their ability to use it to benefit themselves. So we're heading down that path. We still have a long ways to go, but our kids are doing a really good job in recognizing how it can positively be used.
Yeah, and what you said is so powerful. And in line with nationwide, we're realizing that these devices, as everybody listening to our podcast today, I'm holding up my iPhone. These devices are Ferrari, and before we give them the keys to it, why don't we teach them how to drive it safely so that when they do get the Ferrari, if you will, that they know how to use it wisely. I love that. The next topic I'd like to discuss is what are your suggestions for other school districts to increase The most important thing we're hearing, parent engagement. And the follow-up question for that I'd love to include is, are there any specific channels or events that get the biggest turnout to engage those parents?
Yeah, it's a really interesting question. And I think if someone has a full answer that works in their district, they need to share it with everyone. I think right now, we have gotten to the point where we embrace every form of engagement potential that we can get our hands on. We believe that some of our parents benefit from a phone call. We believe others love a remind text message. Some benefit from email, and so, as a district, the advice would be don't hone in on one and expect that to work for your entire parent community, but instead be open minded to try anything and everything that can connect with your parents because they are going to use many different formats to connect with the school district.
That was a really great pro tip that you just had, Superintendent. You said some parents want a phone call, some want an email, some want a text, which I think is
Yeah,
so important and so good.
we can get frustrated as districts because of a lack of parental engagement. And we have discovered we have a large responsibility to find out what works and how we can connect.
That's $1 million quote right there. We have a large responsibility to find out what works. What a great line right there. Innovative. We have to iterate and test things. Some parents also want a flyer. They want to see something at the front desk of their school, and they'll
Yeah, for
scan the
sure.
QR code. They'll take a picture of it. Some want a calendar invite. So I thought that was $1 million answer, and one that will last for 20 years. We'll always finding out what works. Great job on that one. Okay, here's another interesting topic I'd like to get your insight into. What are your thoughts? Boy, is this a hot topic. We're about to hit on three really hot topics.
Okay.
This one, what are your thoughts around some districts who are going cell phone free in the classroom to lower distractions and improve learning and student development?
There are so many questions within that one.
Yeah.
When you talk about we're going to improve learning, I just reflect upon our kids that most recently graduated, and I know how much they have learned. And I know where they're going on to college or what careers they're entering. So I hesitate to think that what we've most recently provided to them in terms of education isn't working, but I'm also open minded to the idea of setting cell phones aside during the school day for purposes that include learning, but also include just their social interactions with one another. And, two aspects to it quickly. One, I think our teachers are missing some of the conversations that they have with kids when the cell phones are tucked away. They're finding the end of class being time for kids to pull out phones and do updates, but also our kids are also asking for some intervention. Just met with some kids this summer about this topic, and they really have asked us, don't be afraid to step in and be strong with this because I think that's what it's going to take.
Yeah, I just wrote that down. I actually want to double click on that. The first thing that I think is brilliant that you just said is kids are asking for intervention, and
Hmm.
a lot of parents are now doing this at home. Smart Social loves social media and devices. We think that they are very powerful in moderation. They're wonderful, just like everything else. Just like driving a Ferrari can be wonderful in moderation, safely, responsibly. But I love that you just said kids are asking for intervention. They sometimes don't know how to ask for that, but they're
Yeah,
saying, "Wow, I'm glad that the teacher gave us a Faraday bag or something else to put the phone away because now I can focus." Some principals are telling us, after 2 weeks of hiding, the phones have to go away during the classroom day. Now kids are socializing more in the cafeteria and so on. But I want to double click on the thing that I didn't fully understand. You said teachers are missing the conversation. Can you
yeah.
give us more enlightenment there?
Part of the beauty of education is the teacher student relationship, and so sometimes if are moments at the end of class where kids are putting things in the book bag, some of our teachers will have talked to me about it's now become a silent time instead of games that are happening that night. What TV shows are you currently watching? What's a good book that you're reading? And just this laughter and noise at the end of class and saying goodbye on the way out, because if there's a loss of control, most of those kids are just on their phone checking text messages or doing some scrolling, and it's a silent end to the class. and the teachers are missing the interaction. They want to see if their removal of phones will help bring that back a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's a really important piece you just brought up. Very good. Okay, let's dive into the next question that I have for you. And this is an interesting one because we want to help every kid learn what they're great at and also their weaknesses they can work on so that we can make them well rounded. Our dream is that every kid who gets a device, we're really thinking about how will they behave when they're 25? How can they become resilient, always learning, working hard, and all these other great things, positive for the community and employable, quite frankly.
Mhm.
Are there any personality tests, path, or tools that your schools or your district are using in middle school and high school to help students find their why or their strengths or their purpose to help them navigate their future?
Yeah, I think Portrait of an Explorer is a foundational item for all of our kids. We have 6 days a year that are dedicated to exactly what you're talking about. We have an engaged collaborator day. We have a lifelong learner day, critical thinker day, adaptive problem solving day, empathetic contributor day. So we think these are some foundational items. We also are school panorama. And so that gives our students an opportunity to privately just sort of let us know how they're feeling about being in our building, and is there a trusted adult, and how do they feel about their friendships and relationships. So we are a district that is open-minded to fully understanding how our students feel, and we do believe we're giving them a voice.
Yeah, love that. I wrote down portrait of an explorer and 6 dedicated days per year to go over that. That's pretty terrific. And that does build probably a great culture for the students so that they really know what they're good at when they launch into the future. And I think that culture is a big part of learning. So great. All right. We're about to dive into the hottest question everybody has, the discussion point that is changing the world. We're going to
Okay.
talk about AI in just a second, Superintendent. But first, I want to give a quick shout out to my amazing team at smartsocial.com who's editing an incredible program, live events, teen led programs. We host 54 live events for school districts all over the country, just like you, Superintendent, and dozens of other districts. So that gone are the days of a one-time parent night safety event around TikTok. Now we have 54 of them a year, and parents are joining live. They've got key takeaways, they've got reels, they've got social media posts, everything to make every parent VIP, very informed parent. So they have
Mhm.
all the information they can to have a rich dialogue with their kids. Superintendents, parents, everybody watching, remember the number one safety app in the world. It's no offense, it's not Google, it's not Microsoft, it's not all these big companies. It's the dialogue that you have with your kids. That relationship, that rich dialogue is the only safety app that you can truly rely on when they feel comfortable coming to you or a trusted adult in their life, like somebody at the school district or you parents. All right. So, shout out to my amazing team for doing that for districts all over the country. We're so grateful. Engagement is through the roof, 10x engagement in every district.
That's wonderful to hear.
Now, Superintendent, we're back to you. Let's talk about this topic. And I want your
Okay.
input. And not everybody has the perfect answer, but everybody's answer typically is we want to use this as a tool. So I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I want to ask you about AI. How is your school district approaching AI tools like ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, and all these other tools students can use to research, learn, write papers, and so on?
I would share with you, I'm really proud to be in Ohio through all of this because Ohio is one of the leading states in just addressing this. In no way, shape, or form are we experts, but we have formed an AI council here in Hudson. It consists of a 25-member team that includes teachers, some students, some community members, other staff members, just addressing policy and approach. We still have our challenges, Josh, with classrooms that welcome this and teachers that encourage it, and classrooms that are simply trying to figure out how this best can be used. So, in what you're discussing, we're about a year into this. We feel like we're a little bit ahead of some places, but still so much learning and dialogue in front of us. But we at least are approaching this with a level of excitement and opportunity for our kids.
I love that. I think that's 100% right direction. We don't understand it all, but
Yeah, we don't.
how, how do we use this tool to help better the kids, right? And I think you probably saw this video. This month for us is AI month, where we teach all the parents nationwide in our program how to navigate these tools to use them as the new calculator or the new phone that your kids will have or the new tutor. The Khan Academy founder quoted a 1980s report, if you will, or survey or some kind of data that said we could bring every kid from, I'm paraphrasing, from a C plus to a B plus if we just gave them 1 to 2 hours of one-on-one tutoring time. We don't know how we scale that. We don't know how we afford it, but nationwide, we could bring every kid up an order of magnitude if they just had one-on-one tutoring. Well, guess what? AI's here, and in a guided parental or trusted adult safe zone, that might be what we need to help them to. And we don't know how to navigate this. There are no answers. Superintendents watching this, do not let your kids run free on AI unless they're 18 or older. But in a guided way, how do we teach them some prompt engineering to ask the right questions, to get background, to not cheat? And one of the tricks that we're learning is starting very early. So essentially, I want to brainstorm these topics and so on. And I want AI to help me guide. So we're excited about what's going on there.
I think that what you're talking about here is something that we are heading towards with AI. A personal belief is AI allows them to see the right answer. And we have had so many kids. I did this as a teacher where no matter what grade it is they received on a test, sometimes the return of that test or even going over the results didn't include the right answer. And so they lacked seeing how that equation or how that, paragraph was actually supposed to be formed. AI gives them the vision of what the correct answer can look like. And I think that can greatly contribute to their learning.
Wow. I just wrote down your key takeaway. AI demonstrates the right answer for a kid, the best
Yeah.
practice, if you will. Absolutely terrific. Such a good example, because if we're worried about getting something wrong and we don't know what's right, are we really learning?
Yeah.
And teachers have a lot going on right now. So it's hard for them to give the right answer every single time. And AI might be able to help us do that. Hey, Superintendent, I want to thank you. Thanks for coming out today and joining us here.
It's been my pleasure, Josh. Thanks for the invite.
Thank you. And for the rest of you out there, remember, Smart Social's here to keep students safe so they can someday shine online. There is hope at the end of that tunnel, and we need to guide kids as they get this Ferrari. For all of you listening, I'm holding up that iPhone or the smartphone as well. How do we have a rich dialogue before they get the device so that when they get it, they understand how to get from point A to point B instead of taking that vehicle, figuratively, and just doing donuts with it and messing around with it. It is a guided map, if you will. Have early and often conversations. And as we always remind everybody, remember that when you're doing stuff online, to always keep it light, bright, and polite, because our kids are watching what we do online. Have a great rest of the day, everyone. Thanks so much for all the support. We'll see you on the next episode. Take care. Thanks for listening to our smartsocial.com podcast. I'm your host, Josh Oakes. This was our District Talk segment where we interview school district leaders to learn how they're keeping students safe on social media so those students can someday launch into their future by shining online. This episode was brought to you by our smartsocial.com VIP program. It's called the Very Informed Parent Program, which helps you engage your students with teen-led video lessons, stay one step ahead with our premium parent newsletter, and discover hidden features on trending apps on teens' phones and our 54+ live parent and student-friendly events every single year. You can click on the link below to chat with one of our team members if you want a free pass to our VIP program to support your community with our smartsocial.com resources. And if you're a district leader who has a success story, we would love to feature you on a future episode. You can click the links below to reach out. Thanks so much for listening, and we look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Have a great day.